when we're translating a figure, we have x movements and we have y movements, 2 of each, right? What are my 2 different x movements? If we think about the DDR floor, what are my 2 horizontal movements? Left and right. I'm going to go right and left. Right and left. Between right and left, which of those would be a positive movement? Right. Which means left would be what type of movement? Negative. Now, what are my 2 different y movements? I've already got right and left.
Up and down.
Up and down, exactly. Up, down. Which of those is my positive movement? Up.
Oh, yeah.
Up is positive. And down would be negative. This is one of those things that we really just have to understand. Once we have this as like a second nature understanding in our heads, our work is going to become a lot easier for us. All right? Right and up are positive movements. Left and down are negative movements. What's up? So you taking those words? You do that later. Good. Now, this is extremely important today that we understand which movement is positive and which one is negative, because we're going to be writing a rule. All right? So let's do that. Let's go ahead and, well, let's see, how should I do this? Let's just go ahead and write a rule. For example, if we have, quote, a translation of 3 units right and 2 units up, that's all the information we need to be able to write a rule. And a rule is kind of like a formula. We've used a whole bunch of formulas in this class so far. Y equals mx plus b. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, our slope formula. And we could write a rule for translations as well, where our pre-image point is x, comma, y. Okay, our pre-image, let's just say it's x, comma, y, could be any numbers. And we're going to translate that point, or set of points if we have a triangle, 3 units right, 2 units up. So I'm changing what my x coordinate is and what my y coordinate is. If I'm going 3 units to the right, what type of movement did we just say going to the right was? Positive. So if we're going 3 units right, that's on the x-axis, we're going to do x plus 3. Okay, this is our image here. Now, if we're going 2 units up, what type of movement did we say up was? Positive again. So we're taking our y-coordinate, we're increasing it by 2 units. That'll be y plus 2. And this is what I was kind of explaining in our warm-up. The directions of our translation when written out in words like this is the exact same thing as saying x plus 3, y plus 2. We're increasing the x-coordinate by 3, which as we know goes to the right. We're increasing the y-coordinate by 2, as we know is going up. Yes, I'll put you on the list. Does that make any sense at all? Okay. I said I'll put you on the list, which means wait. Let's do another one. Let's do a translation of 4 units left and 1 unit down. We're starting with x comma y as our pre-image. We're again going to be changing our x coordinate and our y coordinate. Let's take a look at our translation. If we're going 4 units to the left, if we're going to the left, what type of x movement is that? Negative. So what can we write after our x here, do you think?
X minus 4.
Beautiful. X minus 4. It's a negative movement, 4 spaces. 1 unit down. What type of y movement is going down? Negative. What do you think we're going to write after our y? Y minus 1. It's that simple. All right? All we have to remember is our DDR. Going left and down is negative. Going right and up is positive. Okay, think about those 4 directions. And that's the rule right there. X minus 4, comma, y minus 1. What if we had a translation of let's go 6 units right and 5 units down. We start with our x comma y. And while I'm passing out a little graph that we're going to be gluing in here in a second, see if you could write this rule on your own. 6 units right, 5 units down. What would that look like as a rule? Once you write that, take a moment to make sure everyone in your group's got a glue stick for me real quick. This is the only thing we're gluing in today, thankfully. I'm just about out of room here, but I made it work. Who could help me out? What's my rule here in this third example going to be? Can someone help me out? Osase, go for it. What's my rule? X plus 6, comma. Beautiful. X plus 6, comma, y minus 5. Going right, Roz, go ahead. Right is a positive move. Down is a negative move. So we can mismatch, right? We're not always going to go double positive or double negative. We could have a positive and a negative and a positive. Let's take a look at what we have in this pink example. I know it's kind of small, but what we're going to do is write the rule for the translation shown. Sorry. Write the rule for the translation shown. So I know I'm going to have x plus or minus something, comma, y plus or minus something. Give you guys a moment to catch up to that, and then we'll talk this through. Now take a look at these two triangles here. We got to figure out, where do we start out with this triangle? What's my pre-image here? Is it the triangle on the left or the triangle on the right? What's my pre-image? Triangle on the left? What makes you say the triangle on the left is my pre-image? Because there's no prime notation. Exactly. My triangle on the right is x prime, y prime, z prime. That shows that this triangle here is the image. This is where we end up. We start out with triangle x, y, z. Right? If we look back to our vocab chart, we see that prime notation shows that that point is part of the image. And we know that the image is where the figure ends up after the transformation. So we start on the left, we go to the right. If we remember from what we did yesterday, every single point follows the same exact rule. So we only need to count from one of these points to its prime point in order to write the rule. We don't have to count all three of them. So if I'm looking at x here, I'm just going to start at x because there's the most free space down here. If I start here and I want to end here at x prime, am I going to have to go to the left or the right? I'm going to have to go to the right. Right away I know it's going to be x plus something. And how many spaces to the right does it look like we're going to have to go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces to the right. gives me x plus 5. Exactly. Now from that point where I just ended up right here, if I want to get down to x prime, do I have to go up here or down? We got to go down. 1 space, 2 spaces down. What am I going to write after my y in the rule? Minus 2. That's all we're doing. It's writing the rule. X plus or minus something, comma, y plus or minus something. Doesn't seem too bad, right? No? Maybe? Okay. Hopefully that's making some sense. I know it's kind of hard to see on the worksheet, but you got to make sure you know that we start at the regular letter, we end at the prime letter. So from G to G prime, it looks like we're going left 2, up 1. Left 2 would be x minus 2. Up 1 would be y plus 1. All right? So we'll go ahead and get 46 started. Told you our notes were going to